Hey everybody, it's Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. I'm excited to have you here for our BizzyWebinar on your buyer, the who, what, where, when, and why. We're going to talk about buyer personas today and how you can optimize your personas to show up better versus your competition and to actually meet the needs of your customers. You're probably going to notice a few different things or new things inside of the Zoom today. We are going to be broadcasting this live, so if you're watching this after the fact, it is going to be recorded and posted, but for the folks that are live with me right now, I actually have a poll up right now in the Zoom, so you can click on polls and go into the poll version to tell us a little bit about you so that I can hopefully tailor this to your needs. We're going to ask what's your role, what your business does, and where you're viewing from. Very, very simple. And then this is also intended to be a interactive session. And so I also have the Q&A up on the tool. So inside of Zoom, you can click on Q&A up at the top and you can ask me questions. And then I will do my best during the event to go ahead and ask questions or answer those questions that you've asked. And if you want to give the question tool a shot, you can just enter in the city that you're webinaring in from. So that's us, and we're going to get started right now with all of the details. So let's get rolling. First, you might wonder a bit about who we are. And first, I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb, and what I do for BizzyWeb is I'm the president and owner. And that also means that I'm out on the road, meeting with people, connecting, consulting, helping people grow for our little team at BizzyWeb of 16 fantastic folks. So if you have specific questions about anything that we're going to talk through today, I actually give this talk live on the road quite a bit as well, and would love to talk more. If you have specific questions and if you have something that you'd like to take offline, you can do that for us at dave@bizzyweb.com, or simply reply to the registration email and tell us that you want to chat. BizzyWeb, of course, is a growth marketing agency. And what I mean by growth marketing is that we help our customers grow their businesses with more than just tactics. So yes, we do web design, we do marketing and social media and advertising and content writing and inbound marketing. But we really pride ourselves on giving you the context and the strategy so that you're actually reaching the right people. And one of the biggest things that you need to do when you're trying to reach the right people is know who those people are, which is why this is a really fun talk, and digging in on your personas is incredibly, incredibly important. So as we go through today, that's what we're going to focus on. I'm just going to check one little technological thing, make sure that we're all in the same spot here, and it looks like we are perfect. So I'm going to keep on rolling. So here we go. First, as you look at personas, there's a number of things that are really key about first optimizing what a persona is. And personas, again, are anonymized versions of your absolute best customers. So they're important because if you're not engaging your audience with your content, you're just shouting over them. And so if you don't have something that's actually relevant, an email that you receive that's not relevant to you is called spam. And so you don't want to spam your customers. You don't want to engage. You don't want to waste money on advertising or on content in social networks or in just engagement that doesn't speak to your customers' needs. And so making sure that it's engaging is incredibly important. the message that you're putting out there might also be turning people off. Again, if it's tone deaf, if it's not talking to your customer, if you've just spoken with them and you're sending them something, it'd be the equivalent of a realtor sending out new home listings the month after they sold a house to someone. It's just not in step with who you're trying to connect with and who you're trying to reach. So make sure that you're connecting and bringing people in. And then, do people actually click on your calls to action? So if people are connecting with you and if your personas are in line with the content that you're writing and you're actually reaching the people that you're trying to engage with, the things that you tell them to do as a next step should feel organic, should feel natural. And so the more you can connect, the more you can engage, the more you know about your customers, the better off you're going to be. And then finally, everybody wants good leads. So in order to know if you have good leads coming in, you need to be targeting the right people. So very simple. Digital marketing in general is an entire path of, or a customer journey from attracting to converting, closing, and delighting. You can also think of it as a flywheel where you engage and attract, engage, and then delight your customers. So as people move from strangers to visitors, and after they engage with you via some sort of a call to action, if they click on your page and go to a landing page, they go from visitors to leads. And if you close them from leads to customers, fantastic, congratulations. But that gets them into the CRM so that you can continue to engage those customers and turn them from simply customers to promoters. And in order to come back, you can also ask those questions and reconnect with them via surveys or smart content. Some of the things that you can do with HubSpot's service tools like NPS or Net Promoter Score surveys to find out how happy people are with you, to continue to engage with your customers as you move forward in the normal marketing processes, can really take the entire world of marketing and push it down to something that's manageable and that's engaging and that keeps people coming back for more. So if you know your people, you can attract them, you can talk to them and reach them where they are, because if you spend enough time researching your best customers, researching your idealized customers, you probably know where they hang out. Are they Facebookers? Do they Google for your type of business as a first step? How many times do they click around? Average B2B research is around 80 clicks are made before a business decides to do business with another business. So you're researching all over the place, looking at scores, looking at Google My Business rankings or rankings on Google, and see what people are looking at, what the reviews are, and how happy people are with you. You need to customize your approach at every step of that journey. So very, very important. Again, as a side recommendation or request, go ahead and tell us about yourself via the poll. And again, that's under polls up at the top of the screen. You can simply click on the drop down and then hit, are you a marketing practitioner, management, leadership, or owner? What does your business do? Are you B2B, B2C? Do you serve manufacturing or business services? What do you do? And then where are you from? Because we'd love to hear more so that I know where you're at. So, and then of course, feel free to ask questions during the event as well. We'd love to have you here. Finally, and next I should say, here's what we're going to talk through in depth when we talk about personas. So that was the lead up to who we are and what we do, and this is what this talk is about. First, we're going to go through who is your buyer and building that persona for them, when to use personas in marketing as a sneak or as a sneak peek or spoiler alert, pretty much all the time. And what is your buyer's journey? We're going to go through a deeper dive into where people go and how we can engage people at every step of that carousel. I like to say that marketing is like hopping on a merry-go-round nowadays. It's not one path that you can engage with people. It might be on social media. It might be in a website search. It might be via an email that's been forwarded from a friend or a customer. It might be via advertising. Wherever people engage with you, wherever they connect with you first, or wherever they connect with you next, you have to have more steps to keep encouraging them to walk down the path of engagement with you until they become a customer. And once they're a customer, until they become a fan, a promoter, they're referring business to you, they're connecting you because you're doing such an amazing job for them. And then finally, where do they go on that buyer's journey, and why you should keep transitioning people from phase to phase, and a little bit of how to do that. We use HubSpot as our favorite tool. We're a platinum partner at HubSpot, and just absolutely love the depth and breadth of a single tool to let you do marketing and sales and service and have that all wrapped up into one big thing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we go through. All right, let's get ripping and get into buyer personas. First, who is your buyer persona? And the short answer is it's really not everyone. If people ask you, who do you do business with? And you say, well, I really do business with anybody, or anybody with folding money or whatever that is, you're missing out on the opportunity to engage deeply with the right prospects. If you're not specifically talking to your best customer, you're not going to get more of that best customer. And so you need to be very careful so that you're focusing on the unique customer that you're trying to engage with and give them what they're looking for. So identify who your highest profit customers are, who your best and favorite customers are, the people when they call or when they pick up the phone to connect with you, you're excited to pick up that phone or excited to answer the email, or you'd want to hang out with them after work to reconnect with them, and figure out who that person is. If you're selling to anyone, you're not really connecting with any specific person. So once you know your favorite customer, it makes it much easier. And again, you have to be relatively thoughtful on this, because yes, you might have a favorite customer for having beers with, and that's a part of your engagement process, or it's a part of your business, but that person might not be the most profitable business. So you have to kind of balance that act of working with. Who do you make the most money with? Who is the easiest to work with? It should feel like a joy to work with specific kinds of people. And those are the people that you want to reach more of. Next, here's what a buyer persona is and some examples of our buyer personas. So it's a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer based on real data and some guesses about their demographics, behaviors, and basically what makes them tick. So here's some examples that BizzyWeb has pulled together for past clients. And you'll notice that we have, even though it's a anonymized person, we give them a name. I like making them semi-alliterative. So property manager Paul, in my opinion, is easier to remember off the top of your head than Susan McGuire or Sarah Anderson, right? So if I'm writing for Susan, that's great, but I know that property manager Paul, that's what he does, and I can just plug right into Paul, right? So making it as relatable as possible, printing out these sheets and keeping them above your desk before you set any marketing campaign, any advertising program, or before you write your next blog. You can even give yourself a shortcut by literally putting "Dear Paul," and then writing the news posts, writing the advertisement, writing the letter in email to that person can be very, very engaging and very easy. It's just a way to personalize and to bring it down to who you're actually reaching. So in this case, Paul is more of an extrovert. He's more of a thinker versus a feeler. He likes to get right in. He's probably in disc profiling, a D with a little bit of I in there. He intuits, and he's more, once he intuits something, he's more of a judging person. He likes to get done with the decision and move on instead of thinking about it and letting it come at him, right? His goals in this case for this customer are to make meaningful relationships with his tenants. So he's a property manager. He's trying to make meaningful relationships to deepen those relationships. They implement safe standards for operations, consulting with his tenants on construction projects. He's frustrated with budgeting concerns, with finding reliable vendors for maintenance and construction projects, and high priority projects that take too long. So he's looking for just right fit. So what is he motivated by? What's his connection? And we like to write a fictional bio of that person. And this is probably amalgamation of a number of different actual clients for that customer. But then you'll see brands and influencers. This is probably where we want to spend some time or write to. Preferred channels, referrals are by far the biggest connections. So we want to find ways to engage with other people that can refer this company to Paul. Same thing with Susan. You know, she's mostly interested in referrals, but she has a stronger social media bent. Or if you format it completely different, like Sarah on the right, she's a marketing director. She's organized, hardworking, focused, creative. And where she goes and what she's looking for are people that can help her make sense of her marketing and what she needs to do next. So thinking about what those people are can be very helpful as you look to what you're connecting. Specifically, buyers personas are not a few things though. They're not target markets. I'm not looking for age 25 to 37 folks who are in this X, Y, and Z market and range and demographic. We're trying to identify and write content and engage with specific people that are similar to this, not just broad thing, right? So to say that I'm trying to market to business owners in Chicago that are 35 is a little bit different than I'm trying to write for Paul, right? You're not writing to job titles or roles. That might be part of it, but it's not just that. So you're not going to send this out and say, Dear Paul, as a business owner, manager, marketer, we're looking for this. You're trying to give a little bit more context instead of being very laser focused. And it's also not a specific person. Even if you do have one absolutely fantastic customer that you would love to clone, that person has specific and unique features to their personality that aren't going to be the same from person to person. So they might have very different ways that they prefer to receive information, or you might be a favorite, or they might be one of your favorites because of a personal relationship that's going to be very hard for you to duplicate, you know, unless you can go back to your cousin's sister's wedding and go there. That would actually still be your cousin probably, but you know, whatever that is, right? And they're not dependent on specific tools or technologies. You're not trying to identify people that are on Facebook that do this thing. You're trying to give an overall and generalized view of who these people are and what you do for them. As a reminder, if you have questions, we have the Q&A tool open, so go ahead and ask questions, and do tell us a little bit about yourself via the poll that's up and live. Those are both at the top of the screen. You can hit the attendees section and get into Q&A and polls to answer those items and to keep connecting. All right, here's why personas are useful. In every stage of your buyer's journey, you need to know who you're trying to reach and reach them where they are. Speaking their language is very important. So if I'm in the awareness phase of the buyer's journey, and here are the steps of the buyer's journey: awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, and advocacy. If people are in awareness and they haven't found you yet, they've identified that they have a need, but they don't know about you, you need to do very specific kinds of things. So you're probably going to connect with them with a targeted ad or public relations. You might want to get featured on the local TV stations or in a newspaper or other media outlet. Trade association journals and publications can be very helpful in the awareness stage, and connect with people where they live. Once they're considering you, they know about you, and they haven't made the decision to work with you, that's where reviews and your blog, social media ads kind of bridge between these two. Other media that's available if you have downloads, white papers. I'm going to give you an example of those, and everyone that's registered for this event today is going to get access to 2 amazing tools that you're welcome to use for your business, for example. But media like that can help in guiding consideration. And then once they're ready to purchase, to lock it in, your website is where the landing page is. And that might not be your actual website. It might be a landing page site through a tool like HubSpot or other landing page tools. It might be a purchase if you're a B2C, or if you're a B2B to C, where you're connecting with other businesses that are B2C, helping them get all the way to that end point. But remember, it's not a end once they buy. So retention and then advocacy are keeping people coming back for more to help deepen their relationship. It's 10 times easier to make another sale from an existing customer than it is to find and sell to a new customer, right? So engaging with those folks. And if you're doing your job right, if you're helping meet their needs, give them the opportunity to refer you and to let them move into advocacy. So whether it's promotions, the newsletter, a buy one, give one kind of engagement, whatever that needs to be, encourage your customers to help you spread the word because they know people like them. And so if you're looking for more people like your favorite customers, giving them an opportunity to connect and engage can be very, very helpful in helping you grow your business. So you need to know where your customers are. And so look at and do research on how your best customers stay informed. Where do they get their news? Are they on the red side or the blue side of the media outlets? Do they check out trade association journals? Are they Googlers? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Do they follow groups? Where are they? So you have to kind of interview your best customers and get some details on where they hang out. And so that's what shows up under preferred channels. Traditional ads in newspapers or in media. For Susan's case, she's a little lower on that and she's much more going to be influenced or consume online social media. She's, of course, going to give a lot of weight to referrals. So making sure that recommendations or rankings are prominent on your website, showing examples and testimonials on your website is very important if a referral is important. PR guerrilla efforts for Susan are low. So we might not want to focus on a lot of news releases to try and engage specific markets, again, because she's not quite as engaged with traditional advertising and traditional channels. She doesn't have a lot of time. So that's where she wants to work. Personas can guide product and service development. They can help you deliver what your customers want in the way that they expect to receive it. So as you look at this, it's what you're doing. You can use the data that you're getting from your customers to make business decisions on what kinds of tools you can provide. It's a big reason why BizzyWeb has gone into inbound marketing and growth-driven design, because our customers kept telling us we want more and we want to do more with the marketing that we do. We can't afford to just broadcast and advertise to everyone all the time. And we can't stand that when we stop advertising, our traffic just plummets because there's no other way to get there. So I want my marketing, our customers want their marketing to be stickier, to re-engage people and to connect over and over again by giving them helpful tools, by giving their intended audience helpful tools that they'll refer to over and over again, but then automating those responses so that we're giving them more of what they ask for based on their interactions with us. So if they open an email from us, we know that if they click on this link, we're going to give them more of the stuff that's included in that link in coming weeks. And if they don't interact with us, then we know that we need to take a step back and maybe give them more general information in the hopes of re-engaging. When you create that content, you're going to write, again, for their audience, for their expectations. You don't want to have, if you're trying to reach a younger or starter market, folks that are just getting started in their careers as a B2B, you don't want to be overly heavy or feel like you're burying people in acronyms. You want to be engaging and fun and use different tools, maybe more Instagram in favor of, or instead of LinkedIn, if you're trying to reach younger folks. Or conversely, if you're trying to reach ownership and folks that are established, LinkedIn is a fantastic tool to engage, but you're not going to go in and talk about the party that you were just at in LinkedIn. It's going to be a much more business first message instead of trying to soften things up. You know, you shouldn't be talking about Fluffy, your cat, on LinkedIn, at least not as much, unless you figure out or find out that that actually does work. So as you create personas, here are the 4 steps. You know, HubSpot has some really neat tools. You can go to makemypersona.com and build this. This is actually a screenshot from that tool. But you're going to identify questions to ask in order to figure out what makes your customer or your audience tick. So things like, what is it that's essential to your job? What do you need from companies like me, especially when you're making a purchase decision? Look at how to research people. The data that you have, whether it's your Google Analytics, your click rates on your ads, the engagement level that you have from surveys with your customers, what kind of tools can you use to kind of pull that together? And then you compile all that in and you transform your notes into a complete persona. You put everything on a page. This is what our team does when we're building strategic game plans for our customers, is we put all of that data into one big bucket, and then we just talk through it. And we identify, okay, well, these are the salient points. This is what's actually going to help influence, in this case, marketing Leslie, right? So putting that in and then building it. Sample questions that you might want to ask in order to tease out who that person is and what matters most to them by role is, what's your job or your role in your company or your title? Is it a CXO? Is it a director level? Is it an intern on the other side, right? What's your typical day? What do you do inside of your typical engagement? What skills are required for your job? Ideally, skills that are required for your job that nobody else in your business has, right? Because then you can identify things to help tie those skills to your deliverable, what you do. What knowledge and tools do you use? Are you on a specific CRM? Are you using different kinds of tools? Are you a Microsoft person? Are you an Android person? What kind of reports do you create? Are you in the Microsoft suite, or what is that? And then who do you report to and who reports to you? Who do you have to influence in order to engage those people, or in order to help those people engage on your behalf? For companies, what industries does your company work for, and what's your role? What's the size and the organization of that company? Is it a flat organizational structure? Is it very tiered? Is there a lot of help having to connect with someone's boss to connect with someone's boss? Or is it very engaged where the person can make business decisions on their own? Goals. What are you specifically responsible for? And what does it mean to be successful in your role? If you have a knockout year, what things have to happen, right? So getting into some of those things, they might not directly tie back to what you as a marketer provide to your customers. So figure out what that is. Challenges, of course. What are your biggest challenges? What do you wish you could do that you don't get time in your day to do? Where have other providers like us failed in the past? Watering holes. How do you learn about new information on your job? So what publications, what blogs, what associations are you a part of? What social networks do you hang out on? What do you do? Are you a big Twitcher? Do you Twitch? Do you hang out on LinkedIn? Or are you more of a Facebooker? Or are you more of, whatever that is? Where do you hang out? Personal background. This kind of helps to just kind of gauge what level of engagement you're at. So age, family, if you have kids or not, what your level of education is, kind of helps just come up with common themes or common metaphors to engage with your customers. If you can talk about, if you're mostly dealing with folks that are married and have kids, you can talk about things that are a little bit more parental. If you're not, if it's a younger audience, or if it's a looking at retirement audience, you're going to obviously talk about things in a slightly different way. And then this kind of gets to the purchase decision and how they work, not necessarily for you, but their shopping preferences. How do you prefer to interact not only with vendors, but make purchases personally? So if you're an online only shopper, that's going to help engage. If you want to be able to tactilely engage with some person, some content, if you want to be able to touch it, feel it, interact with it, you need to provide things at a slightly different level, right? Do you use the internet to research? If yes, how do you search? Do you Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever? How is that engagement? Are you a YouTuber? How does that work? And then you can also, and should also, tailor questions to your industry. So being specific as you can is really helpful around, again, trying to reach the right people. So this is why you want to be careful not to just serve everyone, because it's really hard to find everyone. You want to find marketers in a specific audience and in a specific market and in a specific mindset. So the more that you can connect at that level, not only is it more likely to engage the people that you're trying to reach, but your cost of acquisition dramatically goes down the more targeted you are. So it's a fun little double whammy. The more targeted your marketing, your keywords, your content around specific people, the less expensive it is because there's fewer people competing for those keywords in that longer tail or the longer keywords. And conversely, you're spending less money, but you're getting much better response if you're higher targeted. So if I found those 5 people in the market that specifically want my tool and have typed that exact phrase, the likelihood that they're going to engage with me because I've met their need dramatically goes up. So cheaper and more effective. Much, much funner to engage at that level. So as specific as you can, your goals, what do you need to accomplish that you can help them with? What's that next step? What are the challenges and what barriers do they have to entry? Preferences, what do they read, go, who do they trust? Who do they trust is pretty important. What organizations do they join? What terms and solutions do they prefer? So making sure that you're as deep and as in step with their expectations as possible. As you research, of course, interview customers. What interested them and got them to click, to connect, to call? If it was a direct sales where someone actually made a connection and you met them and had a longer conversation and they pulled that in, fantastic. Still find out what made them choose your company, what made them choose your product, your solution. Survey, ask common questions. So do a broader outreach to your customers. This is, again, where HubSpot Service has a brilliant survey tool. You'd also use SurveyMonkey or some other tool to engage, but you want to get out at least 20 or 30 different people across the spectrum of your favorite customers and just ask them those questions. Talk to your coworkers and see what other insights they can give you, because different people on your team are interacting with your customers differently. So your support staff might have a completely different set of needs for their interactions than the sales staff would be. So the people that have to actually do the things after selling might have a different interaction, and you might find some amazing nuggets of, it would be amazing if we could just answer this question for people much earlier. Industry keywords, look at those industry publications. If you're into manufacturing, if you're into senior living, if you're into left-handed widgets, find out what those widgets are and what people are searching for inside of there. And then review them on social media. Check it out. You know your best customers probably. You're probably engaged with them on social media. Where are they hanging out? One of our customers, as a business coach, was finding that a lot of her customers were risk takers. They loved like high octane, high adrenaline engagements. So she tied all of her marketing to rockets, or not, but to rock climbing, to auto sports or motocross or that kind of stuff, to things where people were out in nature and doing things and just getting their hands dirty, literally. And so she found that her engagement level with those right customers went dramatically up when she started targeting to that, instead of just focusing on spreadsheets and the things that she did. Your customer activity is super easy in HubSpot so that you can see what people are doing, what pages are most popular on your website, what kind of forms are they clicking. You can use tools like Hotjar to figure out for your customers, where are they spending the most time? Where do they hover their mouse over their screen, or where do they tap with their phones? Where do they click? What's the most popular stuff? Google Analytics has a fantastic tool where you can click and you can follow the pathway of every visitor and get an overall upshot of everything that people are doing. So for BizzyWeb, for example, most people visit our homepage, and when they do visit our homepage, they go to not our services, but they go to our profile. They want to know who we are before they're even interested in what we do. And that's fascinating. So we spent a lot of time cultivating the personal connections on our About Us page and listing more detail about who we are, what makes us tick, and why you can trust us in your business. Your favorite social networks, the common first actions. What's that call to action that's most likely to connect and engage? It's probably not click here as a button. It's probably something that's more action-oriented inside of that button or that image or that video that you engage with. So best practices, focus on the motives behind people's behaviors. Why are they doing what they're doing? Why are they asking for this? Why are they looking for a new partner, for a new tool? What hurts for them that you're solving? Keep them fictional and specific. You don't want to write directly to a specific customer, again, because that starts to limit what you actually do. You say, well, Bob hates this. Well, Bob might hate that, but Bob the builder, who is a fictional version of Bob, probably doesn't hate that and might be more open to that kind of message. Focus on the best of the best. Trying to go for the top themes that bubble up every time you think about the kind of person that your Bob is. Choose a primary persona. So don't try 5 personas. It's really tempting to say, well, I have like 6 different kinds of customers that we work with. Well, pick one, get good at that one person, and start writing and connecting and marketing for that person, and then expand after you've clarified at least one. And then tell your persona's story. What I mean by that is 1 paragraph each of their demographic info, what their job is, a day in their life, their challenges, their pains, where they get their information from, and common objectives. I also like to bold the super salient points. So in Leslie's case, who is a marketer, Leslie works in a service-based business. The owner wants to grow it, but doesn't know how to go about the marketing. Leslie wears multiple hats, sort of understands marketing, but she needs help from an expert. She doesn't know how to go about a strategy or how to dig into the data or read it to make informed decisions. She's a parent and her off time is kid focused, so on and so on and so on, right? This doesn't take a lot of time. It's probably about 2/3 of a written page, but reading through that semi-regularly and keeping that persona visible as you're writing can be very, very helpful. So as you use your personas, you're going to start with a persona to craft that content. You're going to build your website to serve their needs and their concerns first. If they're telling you, I'm most interested in price, or I'm most concerned about the quality of service, or I just need this to be solved, or I have no idea about this thing and I really need to know more, you're going to go right to that with the most important pages on your website. The calls to action need to speak directly to what makes that person tick or what they're asking for in their daily work lives. And in social media, where are they hanging out, advertising, what kinds of ads are they going to click? Are they going to be more likely to just go on Google and search? Or are you going to need to use the Google ad network to maybe let them search, but then 2 or 3 days later, they're going to see another ad for your service, your product, your solution. And then it'll be a reminder that, like, I keep seeing this business. I know that I need to do this, and that's what's going to drive their action. And then keep going and learning for what you're finding in your business. So the further down you go with your persona, you're going to find that some things do resonate, or you might have been wrong with your assumptions the first time you built it. So a persona isn't a point in time where it's just gospel and it's going to be on a stone tablet. It's continually engaging and growing. Not all the time. You don't want, if it's too fluid, it doesn't make any difference, right? But you have to learn from what's really working. And you don't want to X out or try to focus on things that aren't working. You want to try and leverage things that are working. It's much easier to do more of what you're already doing great than to try to cut out the things that you're not engaging with. It's like, boy, we really thought Facebook was going to be a killer strategy for us, but nobody's clicking with us on Facebook, so we should double down on Facebook. No, you shouldn't. You should do more of YouTube because that's where you're getting all your interactions. Connecting it to your marketing is pretty simple. You're going to read your story, keep it handy. I like to keep it right at our desks when we're writing content. Write those calls to action from your client's perspective. What makes them tick? What's going to get them to click? Remember their pain points. Keep proving how you're going to fix what hurts for them. if you're a doctor, which a lot of us are a doctor for the customer need that we solve, right? So you're not, if you went to the doctor's office with some sniffles and they said, you need these vitamins, I don't even need to see you, you just need this stuff, you wouldn't trust that doctor, right? So having a solution and just going, you need my stuff, is not going to be nearly as engaging or as effective as asking some questions, bringing them down a pathway, and based on what they tell you, giving them the right answer for what they're interested in. So remember their pain points. Keep the FAQs handy. If you get a lot of questions into your business, you're being told what people are concerned with and what they're looking for. So keep doing that. If you're feeling stuck, just write, hey, Leslie, here's something that I thought you'd be interested in, and go from there. So just write it directly to that person. No questions, or and the poll is a little bit light right now. So if you have some questions, I would love to hear from you. We're doing perfect on our timing here. So if you have specific questions, would love to get that from you because this is your time. All right, but as we move forward, here again are the steps. Identify the questions to develop your marketing persona. Determine how you're going to reach out to those people. Compile that research and give them answers to your paraphrased questions. Make it super simple and engage and connect with the buyer persona building best practices, and complete your story. The better you are at identifying and telling your customer's story before they're going to engage with you, the better you are going to be able to actually engage with that person. So it makes it much easier. So as we look at creating our journey, first, be aware of what those steps are: awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, and advocacy. You need to have tactics at every level of those steps. So what path does your customer take when they're working with you? I equated it before that it's like a merry-go-round or like a carousel. People engage with you at different levels all the time. Someone may have already heard about you from another example of your persona and say, okay, I just want to work with BizzyWeb, so I'm going to call BizzyWeb. They've already made their consideration. They just need to move right into purchase. So if you drag them all the way through awareness again, you're wasting their time and yours. What tools engage with them? How do you bring that up, and how do you keep them connected? A lot of times it's just setting up a thoughtful process where, based on what they're telling you, you're providing them more and deeper information. That's called inbound marketing. That's what BizzyWeb does as a practice. That's what HubSpot as a tool coined. And so it's very, very simple. So as we go through these stages of the customer's journey, awareness, they're identifying, I have a problem. I don't know who is going to solve this problem for me or what is going to solve this problem, but I have a problem. So you're going to answer those questions at that level. Consideration. Okay, well, BizzyWeb seems like they might be able to solve my problem. What do I need to know if I'm going to feel good enough about clicking to connect with that company or with you? So they now know about you, but that's 80 clicks deep before they ever click the contact us or click the call me or actually pick up the phone or stop in. The customer path on purchase, make it as easy as possible when people actually do engage with you to get moving, right? Have an easy to use form, have a interview process where it connects up. If you're a in-person or a brick and mortar store, make sure that the directions to your office or to your store are very clear. Clean up, make sure that it looks good so that you're ready, and don't ask for too much information too early. And then retention. Make sure that they don't immediately regret your solution because you're treating them like a number. The tough part about marketing funnels versus what I like to call the marketing flywheel. With the funnel, you dump your inputs in the top, do as much SEO and advertising and content as possible in the hopes that a few people are going to drop out, a few people are going to drop out, and then out on the bottom pops a customer. Great, that customer is there, they're gone. Next customer, right? What happens when you dump water in the top of the funnel? It goes out the bottom of the funnel and then it's gone. You want to think of it as a continual re-engagement to bring people back for more, to recommend you to other people, to just deepen the relationship, to let them do more with you. You keep solving their problems and solving them in deeper and deeper methods, and that makes you indispensable. And it's also much, much easier to get another customer or another sale from an existing customer than to make a brand new one. And again, if you're doing your job, if you're advocating for your customer, they're going to advocate for you. So a newsletter that answers their common questions and concerns. Again, if we go back to the realtor example, a realtor that just keeps sending you home listings is not exciting or is not helpful, especially if you bought your house last month. If, however, you have a newsletter as a realtor that has, here's all the common things happening, or here's what you need to know in your community, or here's what the summer is going to look like for, you know, retirement or rental homes, right? Give them more of what they need. Your social network should tell more about you, help them connect. So that's the entire buyer's journey. Now this ties directly to the Inbound Toolkit. So inbound marketing is all about, you know, inside of the awareness, you're doing public relations, you're doing word of mouth connections and online ads and other things. For consideration, that's probably email marketing, pay-per-click, social ads where you're connecting with people and engaging deeper and deeper, reviews, blog, media that you're purchasing and earning. Once they're ready to purchase, your store, your website where you've got clear calls to action, contact us, let us call you. HubSpot has a tool where every interaction that a customer makes is going to add to their score. And for us, example at BizzyWeb, enough interaction and enough connections with us, it automatically scores us high enough that we send a task to our sales team to proactively reach out and say, okay, well, I noticed that you're really interested. How can we help? And then once you're at retention, they need to know some things once they're your customers. So what are those frequently asked questions? What's the knowledge base that you have? Is it a chat bot? Is it more things that you can ask to get deeper and to get better? And then to keep people coming back for more and to make it easier for people to refer you, what are the promotions? What's the blog? What's the social networks that you can continue to engage with to let people do more of what you want them to do and to make it easy for them to recommend you? So here are those tools again. If you want to take a screenshot of this, again, we're going to make this kit available for you. And then how it works in real life, maybe something like this as an inbound journey. This is an example of a tool that we've republished, but the journey goes from awareness to connecting with people to research. And this is where that up to 80 clicks will happen before they actually connect with you, and then they purchase, and then you keep coming back to more with more case studies, product demos, ROI, all of that stuff to help people re-engage. Here's another example of what a content journey map might look like. So for your persona, you may want to create this. And again, this is coming to you if you've subscribed or if you registered for this event. If you're watching it afterwards, as long as you registered, you're getting this in your inbox. But your buyer's journey goes from awareness to consideration to decision. And then here's the kinds of content and the keywords that you're optimizing for based on each of those. In summary, since we're running pretty low on time, I want to give you a couple of tips. First, remember what you need to do when you're creating a buyer persona. You're developing an idealized picture of your absolute best customers because you want to engage with them at a more meaningful stage or meaningful level than your competitors. And broadcasting and trying to be something for everyone is a surefire way to make sure that you're not really relevant to anyone. So make sure that you're giving them exactly what they're looking for by focusing in a laser focused way, by saying no to the things that you're not and focusing more on what you do. Use your personas in marketing to engage when you're starting to write content, when you're starting to write engagements, when you're writing an automated re-engagement process. Give them all of the pieces of your content or of your relationship. And if someone opens a letter or an email about a specific thing and they click on a link, give them more of what the context was of that link after their next click. So don't treat them like a number. Treat them as, you know, I'm helping you. I'm the librarian that's giving you more information as you're doing the research that you need to do to make a decision to either buy from us or to keep working with us or to recommend us. So wherever they are on the buyer's journey, let them on and off and give them the tools to continue to engage. All right, so a couple of big things. We're getting close to the top of the hour. I want to share with you a couple of tools that you're going to get. If you registered, a link is going to be in the thank you email. So watch that thank you email for this. This is the buyer persona template. This is going to help you walk through all of the stage of building your buyer's journey and how to build a buyer persona. And then if you fill that out, you're going to want to do something with it. So we have this fantastic new tool that our team's been working really, really hard on, and I'm super proud of. It's called the Inbound Marketing Toolkit. It's the beginner's guide to inbound marketing. So if you download this guide, again, if you registered, you're going to get a link, and based on what you need, this is a great tool for helping you dig deeper and to actually answer the questions that your customers are looking for, and to naturally, without being annoying, without spamming them, to give them more of what they're looking for. All right, so next month's webinar is Pop Quiz Hot Shot. How smart are your goals? You might realize, or you might notice throughout the course of the rest of the year, that we are bringing things back to pop culture. We're all movie fans, so you might notice a little bit of a speed reference here. We're also big fans of 80s movies, so most of the things that we're going to tie back to relate around 80s movies. One of the next ones after this is going to be Say Anything. There's all kinds of really fun stuff that we're going to tie into, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But if you need to set great goals for your business, setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based, is a fantastic way to make sure that you're getting what you need on a time frame that works. So we're going to talk all about how to set SMART goals, how to measure against them, how to use data to drive those decisions in your business, and then you're going to be able to take your marketing to the next level. That's Wednesday, March 4th at noon Central Time. You can go to BizzyWeb.com/events. Now, here's my contact info if you want to get a hold of me. And since we do have a brand new team member at BizzyWeb, I also want to introduce you to Ryan. And so I'm going to stop sharing so that you can see me. And so Ryan, step on over and say hi to everybody.
Good afternoon.
Hey, so we've got Ryan here, and he's going to sum up everything that we just talked about. I'm just kidding. I just wanted him to say hi. You're going to be hearing from Ryan. You're going to see Ryan on upcoming content pieces. He's a former legal guy, so he came from the legal world, and he's taking that depth of knowledge and just being an incredibly nice guy to connections with our customers. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Dave.
All right, perfect. Well, that's all that we have for today. So hopefully you got something out of today. Be sure to download the content and get it in here. I do see one chat when you're building the personas. It can be a little challenging to get all the information. Looking for sample interview to get the data. And actually it's in that toolkit that we gave you. So it has sample interview questions. So thank you, Dave. And I apologize, I didn't see that before. It should have popped up in my questions, but for some reason it didn't until I just went lower here. So thank you so much for that question, Dave. And we'll give you some more. Reach out to me at dave@BizzyWeb.com if you have more specifics, and I can give you some exact answers. But you know, what's a great day for you? What makes your boss excited, or what's going to lead to that next promotion for you? How do you know your day is going to suck, right? So what are those things? And answer those questions for your customers. All right, so this is me, and I'm Dave, and welcome Ryan Washington at BizzyWeb.com to the team. And thank you so much. I hope this helped you generate buzz without getting stung. Talk to you in March.